It's from Meltdem, from Meltdem was. And it was sometime last week, 16th of October. It's almost a week ago. But I think it was a very interesting tweet. So it says, Web3 founders be like, we're going to build a better internet. That's us, bro. That's us.
Yeah.
She's not talking about us. And then it says Web2 is predatory and evil. Sounds about right. Web2, you can turn Web2 away from being predatory and evil by turning your Web2 into a traffic funnel to Web3. And then she says, and then you look at their cap table, and it's all dudes who made billions exploiting humanity via their Web2 companies who now LARP crypto as their new grift. Truly amazing performance art. I think that's a great tweet. And I think she's spot on. And I think it's pretty much what we've been talking about for months now, you know. But there's so many people like grifting across to Web3. We all know the new Web3. Everyone's going to jump onto it. It's not going to be decentralized. It's not going to follow the decentralized principles. It's going to be all centralized and lovely and controllable, just like those Web2 billionaires like it. And I just thought it was an interesting tweet, sign of the times. At least someone's pointing out the truth, you know.
Yeah, especially with regulations coming in, people are starting to understand the difference between Web3 and WebVC. And, you know, they're going to be glorified Web2 companies, and they're going to, stick out like a sore thumb. One of the things that's a bit disappointing is no matter what industry you get in, there's going to be people who exploit it. There's going to be people who burn the earth to, live 10% longer. Like, they just don't care about the rest. They want short-term gains and gratification. So you have so many web VCs, instead of true Web3 out there, that you can sort of throw the baby out with the bathwater, because people don't understand that there is a heartbeat to true Web3 out there, and Bitcoin is a bedrock, but it's not the end all be all. It needs a friendly Web3 app development platform that's open to all, where you can truly own your account. So yeah, just like we all, I've always said Hive's a unicorn in terms of the way it was made, just like Bitcoin is. You're not going to see too many of them. So we just have to be prepared to, rise above it, because there's going to be a lot of people that talk like this, but we have to understand that they're not specifically talking about Hive. They're talking about, the 99% doing what Hive's not doing, which is being centralized.
Yeah, and these unicorns that you mentioned, Dan, they can fly faster than bullets. And I genuinely believe that the Hive unicorn is it's gonna dodge. It's gonna dodge those bullets. It's gonna be fast. It's gonna be like Neo in the Matrix, And people are gonna see it at some point. And I was just reading a bit further down in the comments here. One of the realest tweets to be published on the internet, says Pascal de Silva, and then she replies, Melton Demoise replies, so tired of it. And no one talks about it. Like, if you take money from these asshats, you're part of the problem, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I don't necessarily, I personally wouldn't word it like that, but it's nice to see the discussion starting.
She's one of the good ones, though. We'll have to see.
Right, okay. No comment.
One of the top comments on there is about Hive, so it's good to see him out there linking that Steam versus Tron rebellion. I think that's a critical piece of history to read about blockchain and Web3 and what it's all about. So, and yeah, you hit on all the key points. Being able to, pretty much turning from a Patreon-like thing to where you get a few bucks a month in donations, turning that into a market cap. Being able to make positive feedback loops within your community, and then, moving from that to using a non-backed blockchain, no company, very fair distribution, has a good distribution model going into the future. Use that to incentivize off-chain storage, to where now we can really scale this thing for the masses, because that's the real threat to Web2. Blockchain itself is not the threat to Web2. Organizing blockchains to then incentivize off-chain storage is what threatens Web2, because now we don't need them for our distribution. We don't need YouTube to store our videos. We don't need anybody to store our heavy data. And once you get to that point, that's when it's like that, you sort of built your own entity and you've built them out, and it's a real threat to the underlining. So anyone that's paying attention and putting dots together will see very, very quickly where we're going and what it's going to replace. So the funnels might dry up quicker than you think. So you really want to start using these Web2 platforms. Don't take them for granted, because you don't go to Web3 saying, hey, where is everybody? Why am I not getting thousands of views on my video? You treat that as your home, right? You don't go home and you have a party there that you didn't throw. You have to invite people to the party. Invite people to your home, something you own. You own the party. The lights you can't just be kicked out on a whim. That's the mentality, right? The eyeballs are on Web2. 90% of those are fake, by the way. If you do any kind of research, you see these TikTok videos. They do, it's all closed. You don't know. They do that for dopamine hits. It's very obvious if you do the research. So you think you have this big field, but you really don't. And what's there, you need to grab and invite them to some place you own before you get kicked out of that. And now you're just at your house and you have no friends to call. And now you're really struggling because it's like, well, fuck, I have no way to communicate with anybody, and I'm just chilling in my own little place. Yes, Web3 is going to grow, and you're going to get supporters and all of that from Web3. But man, what a time to just funnel people over. People take for granted CNBC, all of these Legacy 2, CNN, all these, they kill and scratch and lie and claw for 100,000 viewers an episode. That is the whole. We don't realize how much power is in 1 million views, how much power is in 100,000 views. That is bigger than network stations that were legacy. You are the new awareness, and they're putting a cap on that with Web2 with the censorship. But if that cat gets out of the bag in a place where you own and you're getting 1 million views on a platform they can't censor, it is over. It is game over. Now you can get your word out no matter what. No funny business. You don't have to know, are my followers hearing this or not? Am I going to be banned? And then your then your quality of your content becomes much better, because now you're not walking on eggshells. You're able to really cut and throw the jabs that you really want to throw without fear of censorship. Then you're going to get even more viewers, and it becomes a positive feedback loop. So, we've been saying this for a very long time. Get your Web2 followers on Web3. I don't even care if it's Hive. There's another Web3 platform out there. Get them onto Web3, a platform that you truly own. We recommend Hive.
The simile to me, right, is you've got two houses, right? And they're both free. You can go use them freely. But in one, you have to pay rent. And the other one's free and you own it. Which one are you going to use, Why are you going to go pay the rent? Why are you going to go pay the rent to someone else's house that you don't own? When there's another house over there right next to it that's free, open, and you own it. It's your house, Anything you do to that, anything you add on the windows, you increase the size of the garage or whatever, that's yours, bro. That's yours. And people will realize this at some point for sure. And maybe we sound a little bit like we're beating a dead horse here, but I think it's important to keep this message to the forefront, because it will get out. It'll get out. We've got, you can see community members on Hive already talking about this type of thing now.
Yeah. Just on a quick note before we go, you see, you do by the actions, right? And you look at the incentives. Okay, why would a big pre-mine token with billions of market cap not like coin voting? Or why would Jack Dorsey not like a crypto? He says all the right things, but then when it comes to a token, he says no, there can't be a token behind it, because he knows Twitter can't make a token.
Yeah.
So it's like he's not, you have to look at where they're parametered. He's like, okay, well, you have to pay you have to pay to incentivize people. The only way to do that is cryptocurrency. You can't do it with fiat. It has to have a crypto. That is something I'm very certain of. The Web3 is going to be backed by some kind of crypto coin, some kind of native cryptocurrency that you can send very fast and cheap.
You have to be able to incentivize the infrastructure service providers. So that they don't become corrupt, or that they.
And he can't do that. He can't create a token. So now they're trying to create this, just like Vitalik. I believe Vitalik is good at heart, and he kind of got in over his head in terms of, let's try to get away with, let's try to get away from coin voting, because he knows the dangers of that on a pre-mine. You just have to take a step back and look at why people are doing what they're doing. Sometimes it's deeper than you actually think. But coin voting, skin in the game is the future. VCs are not with that because they can't launch their own token now. They understand that boat has sailed. Maybe 5 years ago you could have got away with it, but now they're too big, too in the spotlight. Facebook, everyone saw what happened. They literally tried to launch their own cryptocurrency, and then they spent, I'm sure, lots of money to do it, and then they couldn't. They had to back down. So no, we can't do it. What happened to the other one? Kick or whatever, that had a $100 million ICO. All of these things, all of these Web2 companies that tried to run a token got absolutely slaughtered, wrecked. Nobody wants to do that now. So now everyone's trying to think of doing Web3 without a token. Like, oh, we're going to be Web3 Twitter without a token. Just somehow you're going to have to, we're somehow going to sell you on the fact that we're storing all your data and it's centralized, but you're going to like it. Some kind of weird twist, some kind of weird twisted. Like exactly. That's what they're trying to do.
Before 2030, before 2030. So yeah, I'm kind of, to me, one of the natural outcomes of this is if the communities are smart and they are capable, they should be looking to fork out certain founders of some of these chains, right? That's the natural next progression. But so what do you get then? You're going to get the chains turning around and saying, no, you don't want to do that. That's a really bad idea. Don't fork us out. We'll just talk to the regulators. Don't worry. We'll just figure something out, you know? And the thing that we
we'll raise another 100 million.
We'll raise another 100 million. There you
from
go.
A bank.
This is why you always speak to the Speak Network, Dan. You know what to do. I'd never thought that myself. But yeah, I mean, this is it. You know, we'll raise another 100 million, or we'll regulate some things on here that most of the community can live. You guys can live with it, can't you? Because you bitches can't get away from us. You have to live with us now, right? So what do you get? You're going to get the founders turning into the web. They're going to turn into Web2. They're going to turn into Web2. They're going to turn into CNN. I'm going to start putting out content that persuades their users that they need them. Like a psychopathic relationship where, you know, one partner will slap the other and then they'll go off and cry, and then later they'll come to them and say, yeah, but you need me, don't you? You need, slap you again, you know, but you need me. You know, this is where we're going. This is where, and then some of them will say, "I don't need you. Actually, we've got enough people here to just get rid of you, and we're going to go and move on. We're going to go build our own change." But that's going to be the propaganda is going to be such that that's going to be the minority. I think a lot of these chains are going to manage to. I think you were dead right. They're going to tempt the communities with money, and it's going to keep them quiet, and they won't fork away, you know.
Yeah, unless it's an alien invasion, it's going to be very difficult because you can lull people to sleep. When people have time to bitch, they will, and then that's all that will happen. And we've seen that time and time again. You can't give people time to complain.
Yeah, for sure. I wonder if Hive and the Speak Network is going to start doing things like... Well, I don't know if we're going to have the resources to do this personally, but imagine being able to build an incentivization layer on top of Lightning. That's decentralized, you know, or an incentivization layer on top of some of the chain with the Speak technology. I think that's where we could go, but I think it's probably going to take other teams to get involved and do that. But there's definitely potential for that there.
Yeah, you just need to have you just have a way to autonomously send infrastructure for being like an Oracle, and it could be like Lightning / Hive. That conversion for doing that, kind of like what Brian of London's doing, but just have a built-in mechanism pay that. Yeah, and you only need 20 worldwide. I mean, this whole idea of thousands and all this is just always, that's where they always get you. It's like, there's not going to be no one's going to run 1,000 Bitcoin nodes. It's not like some person's going to be on their cell phone with their own Lightning Network node. They want you to rely on that because that's what sells it. They say, oh, if it's true, if everyone did that, then yes, it'd be super decentralized. But they know no one's going to do that except for the big Web2 companies. And it's like, oh, we're selling decentralization when we know what's happening in practice. We know exactly what's going to happen in practice. But we're going to paint this utopian picture where everyone's running a full node and super decentralized when it ends up with 5 companies at the end of the day that have a gridlock. And humans are habit forming, right? Like once that becomes the convenience, they put up with it. Yeah. It doesn't happen all at once, but it's a little by little by little. Look at what we've put up with YouTube. If YouTube started off this way 10 years ago, it would have failed. But it was little by little. first it was Alex Jones, and then it was just little, and now it's like Pomp talking about Bitcoin. You know what I mean, it's gotten to this ridiculous place now where no one's safe, and that's the boiling water effect. That's what happens. You have to know what water. You have to know where you're at, your surroundings, and a lot of people just felt the heat turning up, but thought it was gonna magically turn around. Like they're gonna get all this power and then give it away. It's never happened.